Hi, this is Roma. Welcome back to Rooms by Roma Interior Design. I just want to say thanks for tuning in to all of my roommates. And if this is your first time here, welcome. And if you're an OG subscriber, thank you for tuning back in. Today's video, we're going to dedicate to storage solutions and storage space optimization. I think with everyone, even including me, you struggle with storing things, where to store them, how to store them, making things still stay neat, and ways that you can find the things once you store them easier for you and for the people that you live with. So today's video, we're going to talk about those and see if we can give you some tips to help you with those solutions. So first off, I'd like to talk about just cabinet storage. And I think the thing, it might sound silly, but I think if you match your dishware, I think it helps store them a little easier in the cabinets because everything's the same size. Also, when you open the cabinets, to me, it just looks a little more appealing and a little more clean and put together if your dishes match. They don't have to be expensive. I just think that they should match. I mean, it just makes it, I don't know. I just think, I always have this theory that food tastes better on a prettier plate. And so if your dishes look nice, I also think it helps elevate that experience of you eating with your meals. And these are from Crate & Barrel. They have these, they still have these. They've had these for a while. And I like the black. I also like how they're kind of imperfect. They, you know, the edges are kind of wabi-sabi, and I like the glaze on those. So I wanted just black and white. There's a similar set, but different, I guess. And these are the white ones. And again, they're not perfect. I like the pitted sort of surface. And so I have the plates and the salad plates and the bowls. I love these bowls because they're huge. So cereal, ice cream, soup, salad, thaw, if you like that sort of thing. Those go well in those. And so the plates, and then there are these bowls too, which I think are nice. They're like plate size bowls. So these are some of my favorites. And up at the top we just have water bottles because you never have enough of those. But I don't really have a place to store them, and I want them way up high. I don't think I really have stuff in those upper cabinets because I don't really use them. And if I do, it's things that we don't access every day. So the thing that I think helps is if you zone your areas. So this is the area, of course, I've zoned for our plates and bowls and that sort of thing. The thing I think I've also done is, in one of my previous videos, I talked about how large our dining room table is. So I made sure to have enough dishes so that if we have a full set of people here, I have enough for everyone to be served. Also too, if they break, you have extras. Also too, if I want to mix and match these, they do sort of mix and match pretty well because they're black and white. So they match up pretty well if that's something you think about doing sometimes. So I think the advantage of having the color palette, I mean, it doesn't have to be black and white. If you like colorful dishes, then I would use those. But I think the advantage of having them match is you can mix and match them. You have more of them. It just looks better when you open your cabinets. And I also think just for storage, they stack a little neater and easier. And so that's something that I try to keep in mind when I'm buying those sorts of things. Tip number 2 would be, this is more of if you're remodeling your kitchen or you're building a kitchen or finding a solution to the kitchen you already have. Is if you can figure out a way to have more drawers than cabinets, especially lower cabinets. If you can have lower drawer storage, I think it's better because there are so many more things that you can put in a drawer than you can in a cabinet. Plus, if there's no way to access the back of your cabinets, it's harder to sort of have to pull everything out to get to like your pots and pans and those sorts of things. In these cabinets, I have these pull-out mechanisms so that you can access the back of the cabinets. So if this was a drawer, it would be the same thing. But since it wasn't a drawer, we just had these installed. And these I bought from the Container Store. They come in different sort of finishes. They do have wood ones, but I've always liked these metal ones better. I don't know why. I just like them. I think they glide a little better than the wooden ones, but that's what I've used for these. And then I have one on this other side that's just for the lids. And so you can stack your lids in there and it pulls out pretty easily. And so I have the lids on this side and then the pots on the other side. And so it functions like a drawer since I don't have drawers for those, and it just makes it a little easier for you to access those spaces, especially the backs of the spaces, because if that was just piled in there, I have to pull them all out and shuffle through it, and it's cluttered, and I don't like that. And so it just helps keep everything neat. And I think it also maximizes your storage as well. If you have lower cabinets, I think it's harder to access anything that's on the bottom or in the back. And so the lower cabinets, if you're creating your kitchen, I would suggest you have drawers. If you're building a kitchen, having your kitchen remodeled or something like that, any of the lower spaces, if you are gonna use them for that, I would use drawers. And they have, peg systems to organize your plates or your pots and your pans and that sort of thing. I'll insert a clip someplace in the video to show you some of those options. But most of the lower cabinets I have these pullouts on the bottom just to help be able to access the backs of the cabinets. It really does help and make a difference. These came from the Container Store. And they come in different sizes. So there is a size that's slightly wider than this, which I have in these cabinets, but you can usually fit two side by side. You just have to, of course, measure your cabinets. And then we had a handyman come in and just install them in the bottom. So that's where we got these from. They came from the Container Store, and they have different finishes. They have this chrome finish, and they have wooden ones as well. I just like these better. And I think the dimension on these were better, and we could actually have two side by side because of the dimension was a little better. In addition to the under cabinet storage, drawer storage I also think is important. So in my drawers, a lot of the drawers, I have these drawer organizers. This I think I bought from Amazon, but I mean, you can pick these up anywhere. They have these at the Container Store. They have them at Crate and Barrel. They have them on Amazon. And this one I like because it adjusts. So this actually collapses or expands because of this little joint right in here. So you can make it smaller or wider depending on what you need for your drawer. Yeah, and so let me see if I can, this slides open or closed. Let me take it out. Oh, it's broken. That's what happened to it. So it slides and contracts. Okay, yeah, it's broken. But you get the idea. So you can make it fit any size drawer that you need it to. And so, we have our things in here for baking, the measuring cups and spoons and whisks and paddles and all of that sort of thing. So that goes in there. And then I have a similar setup in my silverware drawer. So these, I think, I want to say, I think I got these at Home Goods. I've had them forever. But again, all my silverware matches. And then this is just, to keep it so it's not all just floating in the back. And then I have some space in the back for bigger, tongs and stuff for the oven and all of that. This is plastic. It should be in here. So it just keeps everything kind of organized in an easier way, I think. So over here, I have spices. And so these, again, are elevated or tiered, I guess, so that you can kind of see your spices. Some people have their spices in a drawer, and I didn't have a space for that I could actually use a drawer for spices. So this was the next solution. I think I got these on Amazon too. I just didn't do them in these two cabinets because I can see what I need up there, and this was a little more needed down here. So I just opted to have them here, and it just moves the spices so that they're eye level and you can see, and then you can also see if you're running out and what you need to replace and all of that. So I like this too. It just keeps it a little more organized and easier for you to see. The other thing I think helps to organize things is if you corral certain things together. So if you have an area where, these are all of the olive oils and balsamic vinegar, and these things that they're elevated on, these are just remnants. So they're remnants of granite. At our old house when we lived in Colorado, we had some countertops replaced, and this was the old countertop. And so we just had them cut them into different pieces. We have some of these all over the house, and we just had them cut them into different pieces. I mean, this is butter. And so we keep that out, and it's on top of there, but then it corrals all of our oils and vinegar and that sort of thing together, so it's not spread out all over the cabinet. And so that's another trick I like to use, is try to corral things together so that they have a place and they're not all over the place. And it's just easier for you to access. You're here cooking, here's your olive oil, here's your avocado oil, here's your, all of that sort of thing. And then this is just salt and pepper. I like the sills for the salt and pepper. When you're cooking, you just, grab a sprinkle and put it in there. I just like it. I don't know if there's more of a benefit of having them here or taking them out and actually grinding it. I mean, if you want fresh ground pepper, of course you have one of those grinders and do it. I have a friend that's a chef, and he would come over and cook for us occasionally, and he liked that. He would bring his own and he would use them, and so I was just like, well, if he likes that so much, I'll just have them. And I also kind of like the luxury of having them out. And so anytime I'm cooking, I can just use them like that. Or if I'm, wanting to season my food afterwards, I just use them. I don't know if there's so much more of a benefit. I just like, I guess, the luxury feel of that. So that's why I just have them that way. I mean, you can certainly use them how you wish, but this is just how I store mine. I don't think there's one benefit to or the other. If there is, drop it in the comments and let me know. But I don't know if there's a difference. That's just what I like. Hey roommates, so I've been noticing that people are viewing my page but not really subscribing. I think this would be a perfect time for you to head down to the bottom of the page and click those buttons, either like and subscribe, and both. And subscribing really helps the channel. And if you like a video, it also lets me know what kind of videos you like, so that I can continue to create the content that you wish to see. And I look forward to creating with you. So the other tip I try to hold myself to, and I think it helps, is when you're buying your supplies, especially cleaning supplies or toilet paper, any of that sort of stuff, is I try to only buy 3 at a time, if that makes sense. So I buy 3, and I have 1 that I'm using and 2 that are in the back for filler or backup or whatever. So when I run through this one, I have 2 back here, and then once I use one of these, I'll probably order 2 more, so then I'll have 3 in rotation all the time. So this is another one of those pull-out solutions that we found, and this is a good one because it's cut out in the middle so that it misses all of the drain underneath the sink, so like the garbage disposal and the P-trap and all of that stuff that's underneath there, so that you can use as much of the storage as you can. It also makes it easier for you to access anything that's further back, because it sort of leaves it in that spot and it doesn't pull it in and out, and it also doesn't mess it up. So I like that solution. It's really been helpful for us. And Again, this is just one of those pull-out things. Again, I think we got this from the Container Store. Of course, it comes in different sizes. You want to measure the underneath side of your cabinets. And like I said, we just had a handyman come in and he installed all of them all at the same time. So I didn't notice, but I think I broke my own rule because there are 4 of these back here. But yeah, I just, I'll just, I'll have enough. There won't be like I'll rent out. Or I can distribute those in other rooms throughout the house. So I have a spot in the bathroom under the sink that I have, and so I can put those in there too.
Smaller space, yeah. It's a good idea to just keep.
Right, and so if you have an area where you keep those, or if you have a smaller space, they probably won't all fit under the sink, but you can move them to other rooms that you still use those products, and then they're still not going to waste. You can still use them and probably use them before they, dry out or whatever. So I kind of have some fridge organization stuff, but not really. I guess I'm not one of those people that takes all of the stuff out of packages and puts it in other packages because I think it's kind of wasteful. You're taking your milk out of the container and dumping it into another plastic container only to just throw that plastic container out when it's perfectly good plastic container it came in from the store. So I just leave it in there, reuse it. I try to keep my fridge organized in a way where my daughter and I use it. I have a shelf of leftovers. She knows where the eggs are. I know where the cheese is. So that's kind of how I organize it. It's not, neat and pristine and in all of the pretty colored Container Store bins and stuff, but I don't think it's necessary. You use it how you use it and you keep it neat, and that's kind of how I organize our refrigerator. Yeah, the freezer's about the same. It's full, but the freezer's about the same. There's, no rhyme or reason. It's just in there. And I have some frozen leftovers and that sort of thing when we have extra meals, and I freeze them and then I can thaw them out and use them for later. I just don't believe in that taking the stuff out and putting it in another container. I haven't figured out what the reason is behind it. It does look pretty, I'm not gonna doubt that, but I just don't think it's necessary. The last tip I think really helped me, and I try and do this in a lot of our spaces in the house, but I think it helps more so in the kitchen, is to have things in zones. And so what I've done is I have an area, where we cook our breakfast. And so, after we're done cooking, this is where the plates are, and this is where the toaster is, and this is where the bread is. And so you make your breakfast here. And so this would be the breakfast zone for us. And then I have our cooking zone, of course, because this is where the stove is. And you have the zone where all your spices are. And then I have all of my cooking utensils in this drawer, so they're close to the stove. And so you sort of zone your home in those areas, I think, because I think it helps you move through your space a little easier. It also makes it just more efficient. So if you're cooking on the stove, you don't want your things that you're cooking on the stove with in a different zone. The other thing I did too is I don't drink a lot of coffee, but I've recently started drinking coffee. Is we have this coffee station, and so all of the things that we use for the coffee or tea are in this one zone. And so I have this area with all of our coffee mugs. And yeah, these are a bunch of Starbucks stuff. My husband was very into Starbucks, and so he would buy a lot of these, or I would get them for him for gifts, and some of these other mugs are gifts. But those are travel Starbucks mugs. These are other mugs that I got from Crate and Barrel. I love these because they're big, and if you like big coffee or hot chocolate or soup or whatever, these are good for that. But all of this is in the one zone, and so you have all your tea here, things to flavor your tea. There's different sugar and vanilla and honey and that sort of thing. I have tea inside this vessel on the counter. The other ones are empty. These are actually lollipops, and they dissolve. You stir them in your tea or your coffee. I don't have very many of them because my daughter eats them, but you can put them in like your tea or coffee and dissolve it to sweeten it. So that's here. And then of course there is the Nespresso and my Smeg coffee maker, and then tea kettle, electric tea kettle. And then under here is where we store the water for our coffee maker, because I don't use the water from the sink because that's gross. And so the spring water is stored under here. And then the descaling thing for that. Oh, I guess I should point this out too. We have the other pullouts again underneath here, so you can access the water and the coffee. This is actually mushroom coffee. I haven't tried it. Someone actually sent it to me. A friend of mine did, and I just haven't tried it yet. And then inside here are the pods for our coffee. And I like flavored coffee. I'm not a huge, just black, and so I like my sugar and cream and all of that. But this is all the Nespresso pods, and so all that's here. And so it's zoned in this one area, and that's our coffee zone.
So let's recap again.
So I think, again, like I say, I think just keeping things in zones, it helps keep things more organized. It also helps you, I think, be able to flow through your areas a little better, especially in the kitchen. The other thing that I'll just touch on briefly too is just corralling things together. I may have talked about this before, but what I have like in my sink area is this is lotion and soap, and these are vitamins for the plants. But I just have them corralled on this little tray so that it just keeps everything from being all spread out across the counter. I also like things inside of Pretty Things. Now this is one of the things I would do that I said I wouldn't do in the refrigerator, but I hate the soap pump stuff, the bottle that the soap comes in. And we didn't have one of those installed on the sink because, again, I did not build our house. If I built our house, I would have done it a little differently, but I hate the bottles. And so this is an olive oil drizzler. I just put the soap in here because I think it's prettier, and I just keep it on top of this riser. And so, you know, these are the scrubs that I use for the sink, and my sink is pretty deep, so I keep them inside the sink and you usually don't see them. So everything's kind of corralled. The other thing I have is I have this, and this is just one of those industrial silverware or containers. It would go inside a dishwasher, but I have this in here so that when you're done with your dishes, to keep our spoons and silverware from falling inside the drain or getting caught in the garbage disposal, we put them in this to keep them out of the way of the sink. And so they just go inside here. And then when we do dishes, I clean them out and stick them in the dishwasher. But that just keeps them from falling in the drain. I don't have a split sink, I just have this deep sink, and I think that kind of helps keep. So the next storage solution thing we wanted to talk about is small space storage solutions. And we're gonna use my guest bathroom as the example for that, because I think sometimes in bathrooms, they are the small space. They do require a little more creative sort of solutions for storage, because sometimes there is none, or you have very little, and so you have to come up with ways to sort of store these items, and so that's what we're going to talk about now. I use baskets a lot. Sometimes they're empty, just like this, but if I needed to store other things in here, I could. This one's just empty. I have it in here just to break up the space and give it some texture. But this basket has wipes in it. And I just didn't want to sit the container of the wipes on the back of the toilet because I just didn't like how that looked. So I hid them in the basket. Up here, we also have some extra towels for use. And on the very top of here is a basket of what I call extras. So anytime I travel, I bring home the samples that are in the bathrooms that are on the sink and stuff, or in the bathtub, and I bring those home. Because anytime you have someone visit or stay, sometimes they forget things, or they need a lotion to put in their purse, or your man bag, or whatever. So I have all these extras, and they're free to go in here and get whatever they need. There's a face bar, there's shaving cream, there's lotion, there is body wash. So anything they feel that they may have forgotten, I have in this basket, and they are free to dig through and take whatever they need and whatever they want. And so that's there. So the next thing you may have to come up with is a way to store the items, or some sort of cabinet or shelf or something to put all of your decor and towels and things on. This was not here when we first moved in. This was just the blank wall. And so the cabinet guy that finished our cabinets in the kitchen, that added our cabinets, we had him do a shelf like this. And I have this in one other bathroom in the house too. I think it's in the toilet over Alexa's bathroom, in her bathroom, for storage. And so he just built this box, painted it white so it matched the other cabinetry in here. We have the glass shelving. And so, of course, it's mounted to the studs in the wall. It's not gonna just fall off. So that helps add storage. Of course, you can get one of those over the toilet sort of storage things if that's what you wish. I just did not want that. If that's all you can afford, certainly you can get that. But this was the solution I came up with for this. And again, I have some towels here, just some decor. There's a candle here. There is spray for the toilet, and there's after spray for that, and all of that. So that's the things that are here. And this is just more decor. And so that's the solution we came up with for that. And then some other storage solutions I came up with for under the sink is, again, I tried to corral things together. So there's a basket for like extra toilet paper. Here is my, buy one, have one sort of wipe things for the bleach wipes. And in the very back, there's more cleaning things, and they're in a basket. And so you can actually reach in there and pull the basket out. And then you have all your cleaning things in there, and then you can clean. And then once you're done, you just push everything back in there. And then it's all nice and neat and taken care of and out of the way. And then this is another solution, the Corral solution I came up with again, is I have the soap, and this is just Q-tips and cotton rounds if you need those things, so that's in there. And then this is hand lotion to use after you wash your hands. And there's a little nail brush in there. And then to keep these dry and sort of out of the way, I have a tray here for hand towels. The towels that I have in here are more for decor, except for these towels can be used. I just think it's more sanitary if you have napkins or something disposable to dry your hands with after you wash them, and that way everybody's not using the same hand towel. This is for decoration. This is not for people to use for their hands, because that's just not sanitary. So I have this tray on the side of the sink for you to use to wash your hands and dry your hands and that sort of thing. So that's what we came up with for in here. So this completes the storage solutions video for today. These are just the things that we came up with for the guest bathroom. So I hope that was also helpful. Just like with our kitchen solutions, the same thing. I hope that those things were helpful and you got something out of it. And don't forget to take some time to go down to the bottom and click those buttons and like and subscribe. And I look forward to creating with you.